good morning, afternoon. Today I want to talk about something that lies at the core of human connection love. And I want to start with a truth that's both liberating and challenging. Do not love half-lovers. Half-lovers don't just reside in romantic relationships, they show up in friendships, family bonds, and even how we treat ourselves. A half-lover is someone who meets you halfway but expects you to walk the rest of the distance alone. They hold back, offering just enough to keep you hanging on, but never enough to fill the space between you. Wholeness over fragments. Love, at its core, is about connection, a deep and complete connection that brings two people together in authenticity, vulnerability, and mutual respect. But too often, we settle for fragments. We accept incomplete attention, partial commitment, and fractured intimacy, convincing ourselves that it's enough. The problem with loving in fragments is that it leaves us perpetually unfulfilled. It's like trying to nourish yourself with crumbs when you're starving for a full meal. The truth is, love was never meant to be experienced in parts. Love, when it's true and whole, is expansive. It doesn't hold back or ration itself out. It's not about scarcity, it's about abundance. When we accept fragmented love, we often do so because of fear of being alone, fear of rejection, or fear of asking for too much. We tell ourselves it's better to have a little than nothing at all, but is it really? Settling for fragments keeps us in a state of longing, where our needs are never fully met and our hearts are never fully at ease. It creates a cycle of dependency on something that was never built to sustain us. Wholeness, on the other hand, transforms everything. Whole love doesn't mean perfect love, it means love that is intentional, reciprocal, and complete. It's about showing up fully, not just when it's convenient, but especially when it's hard. Whole love is a meeting of equals, where both people are willing to invest their time, energy, and emotions into building something real and lasting. Choosing wholeness over fragments begins with recognizing your worth. You are worthy of love that doesn't make you question your value or beg for scraps of attention. You deserve someone who meets you in the middle, not someone who makes you chase them or settle for less than you deserve. This applies not only to romantic relationships, but also to friendships, family bonds, and even your relationship with yourself. Think about what it means to love yourself in fragments. It looks like accepting only the parts of you that are easy to love, the polished, presentable parts, while rejecting the messy, vulnerable, or imperfect aspects of who you are. But self-love, when it's whole, embraces everything: your strengths, your flaws, your past mistakes, and your aspirations. It says, I am enough, exactly as I am. When you start with self-wholeness, you naturally begin to attract and demand wholeness from others. You stop tolerating relationships that leave you feeling empty or incomplete. You stop settling for half-hearted efforts and one-sided dynamics. Instead, you cultivate connections that reflect the love and respect you've cultivated for yourself. Wholeness over fragments also requires bravery. It takes courage to walk away from situations where you're not getting what you need. It's not easy to say, I deserve more, and then act on that belief. But the alternative, staying in relationships that chip away at your sense of self, is far more costly. Whole love doesn't just fill the gaps, it builds bridges. It fosters growth, trust, and healing. It creates a foundation where both people feel safe to be their authentic selves. And it doesn't just benefit the individuals involved, it has a ripple effect. When you love wholly, you inspire others to do the same. Choosing wholeness over fragments means setting a standard for the love you give and the love you accept. It's a declaration that you won't settle for anything less than genuine, wholehearted connection. And in doing so, you create space for the kind of love that not only fills your heart, but also nurtures your soul. Let this be a reminder: love that is fragmented will never satisfy you, but love that is whole will transform you. Choose wholeness every single time, courage to walk away. Walking away is not an easy choice. It's often painted as a symbol of failure or weakness, when in reality, walking away can be one of the most empowering, transformative acts of self-respect. It takes an immense amount of courage to walk away from relationships, situations, or people who do not align with your values, your boundaries, or your worth. But that is precisely why it's so important. The courage to walk away is a declaration of self-love, a commitment to your own well-being, and an affirmation that you are worthy of love that meets your needs. Many of us are taught from a young age that love means sacrifice, that we should endure, stay, and try harder even when something is not right. We hold on because we fear rejection, or we believe that if we just love enough, we can change someone or make a situation work. But this thinking is flawed, and it only leads to pain and frustration. Real love, whether for yourself or others, does not require constant sacrifice or subjugation of your own needs. True love encourages growth, mutual respect, and equality. If these things are missing, it's often time to walk away, and that takes real courage. Walking away from a relationship or situation that is no longer serving you is not an act of quitting, it's an act of honoring yourself. It's recognizing that the cost of staying is too great and that you deserve better. It's acknowledging that you are worthy of a love that supports you fully, not one that leaves you feeling drained, unimportant, or unseen. When we refuse to walk away, we are, in effect, telling ourselves that we are not worthy of better, or that we are too afraid to face the discomfort of change. But in truth, it is this very fear of change that keeps us stuck in cycles of unfulfilled love. The fear of walking away. The fear of walking away is real. It's often accompanied by feelings of guilt, sadness, and uncertainty. We worry about the consequences. Will we hurt the other person? Will we be seen as selfish? What will people think? These are legitimate concerns, but they cannot dictate our decisions. The longer we stay in situations that drain us or harm us, the more we give up pieces of ourselves. And if we continue down that path, we risk losing the very thing that we are trying to protect, our sense of self-worth. There is also a fear of the unknown. Walking away means stepping into unfamiliar territory. It might mean being alone for a while, confronting your own fears, or facing the uncertainty of what the future holds. But it's in these moments of uncertainty that true growth happens. When you choose to walk away, you free yourself from the patterns that have been holding you back, and you create space for something new, something healthier, and more aligned with who you are becoming. The healing power of walking away. The act of walking away can be incredibly healing. In the moment, it may not feel like it, and there may be moments of regret or second guessing. But with time, the healing begins. When we leave behind toxic relationships or situations that are unfulfilling, we give ourselves the chance to reconnect with ourselves. We allow ourselves the space to heal from the emotional wounds we've been carrying. We rediscover who we are apart from the relationship or situation. It's like peeling away layers of an onion. Each layer you remove is another step toward uncovering the core of your true self. The healing that comes from walking away is a reclamation of your own identity. It's giving yourself permission to be whole again, without the distractions of what doesn't serve you. Walking away with grace. It's also important to note that walking away doesn't have to be dramatic, hurtful, or destructive. You can walk away with grace. You can do it with honesty and respect, acknowledging the love and connection that once existed while also being clear about your boundaries. Walking away doesn't mean you have to burn bridges or make enemies. It simply means you are no longer willing to settle for less than you deserve. It's about taking ownership of your life and your choices and recognizing that sometimes love means letting go. Sometimes we hold on too tightly because we fear that letting go will leave us with nothing. But walking away opens the door to new possibilities. It creates room for growth and invites in relationships that are healthy, balanced, and whole. The liberation of walking away. When you finally find the courage to walk away, you experience a deep sense of liberation. It's like lifting a weight off your chest, a weight that you may have been carrying for far too long. It's freedom from the anxiety of wondering if things will ever change, freedom from the emotional toll of unreciprocated effort, and freedom to start fresh. And in that space of freedom, you get to rebuild. You get to create the life you deserve, a life built on your terms, one where your happiness, peace, and well-being are the priority. You get to fill your life with people who honor you, value you, and support you in becoming the best version of yourself. In the end, the courage to walk away is not about rejecting others. It's about accepting yourself. It's about recognizing that you deserve a love that's whole, that's healthy, and that's worthy of your time and energy. Walking away is not a sign of weakness. It's a powerful act of self-respect, of growth, and of the unwavering belief that you are worthy of a love that is real and that heals. So embrace the courage to walk away. Let it be a declaration that you are ready for something more, something that honors your true self. When you choose to walk away, you are choosing to walk toward a brighter, more fulfilling future. And that is the most powerful thing you can do for yourself. You teach others how to love you. One of the most profound truths about relationships is that the way others love us is often a reflection of how we love ourselves and the boundaries we set. The way we teach others to treat us is not by what we say, but by what we accept and what we allow to persist. We may not always be conscious of it, but we are constantly communicating the kind of love we believe we deserve through our actions, our responses, and the way we honor our own needs. The statement, you teach others how to love you, is not just about romantic love. It's true for all relationships, friendships, family, colleagues, and even how we relate to strangers. In every interaction, we either signal what we're willing to tolerate or set a standard for how we expect to be treated. But too often, we undervalue ourselves, lower our standards, or tolerate behavior that does not align with our worth. And in doing so, we teach others that it's okay to love us only in ways that are incomplete or harmful. Self-love as the foundation. The foundation of teaching others how to love you begins with self-love. If you do not respect, honor, and care for yourself, how can you expect others to do the same? Self-love is not about narcissism or vanity. It's about recognizing your own worth and refusing to settle for anything less than the best for yourself. It is knowing that you deserve love that nurtures, respects, and supports you in becoming the best version of yourself. When you practice self-love, you demonstrate to others that you have a high regard for your own well-being. This doesn't mean being perfect or never making mistakes. It means understanding that you are deserving of care, kindness, and respect, regardless of your imperfections. The more you love yourself, the less likely you are to tolerate mistreatment, and the more clearly you are able to communicate your needs and boundaries. Setting boundaries is a key to teaching others. One of the most powerful ways we teach others how to love us is by setting clear and healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not walls that keep people out. They are the lines we draw that help define where we begin and where others end. They tell people what is acceptable behavior and what is not. They establish how much of your energy, time, and emotional space you are willing to share and how much you need for yourself. When you set boundaries, you teach others what they can and cannot do in your life. Boundaries are not meant to control others. They are a form of self-respect. They are an invitation for others to show up in ways that honor you. If someone crosses a boundary, it's not a punishment, but a signal that something is out of alignment, and it gives you the opportunity to teach them how you want to be treated. It's through these boundaries that we prevent others from taking advantage of us or draining us emotionally. A common misconception is that setting boundaries makes you difficult or selfish, but boundaries are about preservation and protection, not punishment. When we fail to set boundaries, we inadvertently teach others that we are available for anything, anytime, even if it means sacrificing our own needs. But when we assert our needs, communicate our limits, and protect our emotional space, we teach others to respect us as equals, and that is the essence of healthy love. What you tolerate, you teach. The way we allow others to treat us sends a powerful message about our own self-worth. If we consistently tolerate disrespect, dishonesty, or neglect, we're teaching others that we're okay with it. We may tell ourselves it's not that bad or I can put up with this. But in doing so, we reinforce the idea that we do not deserve better. Over time, these small compromises chip away at our self-esteem and reinforce the belief that we are unworthy of genuine care and respect. On the flip side, when we draw a line and refuse to accept behavior that diminishes us, whether that's emotional unavailability, manipulation, or disregard for our needs, we teach others how to treat us with the respect we deserve. In fact, by not tolerating unhealthy behavior, we invite people into our lives who understand and value our worth. What you tolerate, you teach. If you tolerate dishonesty in a relationship, you teach that dishonesty is acceptable. If you tolerate emotional neglect, you teach that neglecting your emotional needs is okay. If you tolerate disrespect, you teach others that disrespect is allowed in your life. And the opposite is equally true. When you set a standard for love that is honest, kind, and respectful, you teach others to meet that standard. Being clear about your needs. Another powerful way we teach others how to love us is by being clear and direct about what we need. Far too often, we expect people to read our minds or to intuitively know what we want or need. We may drop hints, express dissatisfaction, or hope that others will just get it. But in reality, clear communication is the key to fostering the kind of love we deserve. When you are clear about your needs, you teach others how to meet them. You no longer have to play games or wait for others to figure out your desires. You create space for open dialogue. This could be as simple as saying, I need time for myself right now. Or as complex as expressing, I feel unappreciated when you don't follow through on your promises. It's about communicating your expectations in a healthy, respectful way and being open to listening to the needs of others as well. When you're clear about your needs and set the expectation that they will be honored, you empower others to show up in your life as you want them to. This kind of transparency fosters deeper, more genuine connections because both parties understand what is required to make the relationship thrive. The power of self-worth. At the core of teaching others how to love you is the belief in your own self-worth. You cannot teach someone else to love you if you do not believe you are worthy of that love. When you have a strong sense of self-worth, you make choices that align with your values and needs, and you don't settle for less than what you deserve. Your self-worth is communicated through the decisions you make, the boundaries you set, and the standards you hold. It's reflected in the relationships you choose to invest in and the ones you walk away from. When you show up in the world as someone who knows their worth, you attract people who value you for who you are, not for what you can do for them or how you make them feel. Ultimately, teaching others how to love you is about teaching them to respect you. It's about making it clear that you are a person worthy of care, honesty, and mutual respect. It's not about demanding love or manipulating others to behave the way you want them to. It's about aligning your actions with your values and letting those actions speak louder than words. You show people how to love you by how you love yourself, by the standards you set, and by the love you are willing to give in return. In the end, when you teach others how to love you, you are creating a space for true, healthy, and fulfilling relationships, ones that are based on mutual respect, equality, and authenticity. By honoring your needs and your worth, you invite others to do the same. And that is the foundation of the most meaningful, long-lasting love there, the role of vulnerability. Vulnerability is often misunderstood. In a world that prizes strength, resilience, and the ability to project confidence, vulnerability can feel like a weakness or a risk, a place where we expose our raw emotions and reveal our deepest fears. But in truth, vulnerability is one of the most powerful tools we have for building connection, fostering intimacy, and creating meaningful relationships. It is the very thing that allows us to experience real love, deep trust, and authentic self-expression. Vulnerability is not about exposing weakness. It's about embracing our humanity and choosing to be seen, heard, and understood in our most honest form. What is vulnerability? At its core, vulnerability is the willingness to show up as your authentic self, even when it feels uncomfortable or uncertain. It means letting go of the need to protect yourself with walls or facade, and allowing others to see the parts of you that are not perfect, polished, or controlled. Vulnerability involves expressing your emotions, admitting your fears, acknowledging your mistakes, and sharing your dreams, all without the guarantee of acceptance or safety. Vulnerability is not the same as oversharing or exposing all of your emotions at once. It's about selectively choosing to share parts of yourself with people who have earned the right to see you, and doing so with courage and trust. It's about allowing yourself to be real, raw, and imperfect without the need for approval, but simply because you are worthy of being seen for who you truly are. Vulnerability builds connection. One of the most profound roles of vulnerability is that it allows us to connect with others on a deeper level. Human connection is rooted in shared experiences, emotions, and understanding, and vulnerability is the bridge that helps us cross from surface-level interactions to true intimacy. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we open the door for others to do the same. This creates an environment of mutual trust and authenticity, where both people feel safe enough to let down their guard and be their true selves. Without vulnerability, relationships become shallow and disconnected. People may maintain a semblance of closeness, but they remain isolated within their own walls. It is only when we expose the parts of ourselves that we've been hiding, whether that's our insecurities, our past trauma, or our deepest desires, that we can form genuine, meaningful bonds. Vulnerability enables us to see others not just for their roles in our lives, but for who they truly are. And in doing so, we learn to love them in their entirety. Vulnerability fosters trust. Trust is a fundamental pillar of any healthy relationship, and vulnerability plays a crucial role in building that trust. When you are willing to be vulnerable with someone, you demonstrate a level of trust in them, trust that they will hold your emotions, your story, and your fears with care and respect. Vulnerability is a risk, but it is also an invitation for others to show up for you in ways that deepen the relationship. When someone opens up to us, it is natural to feel honored by the trust they have placed in us. This sense of reciprocity builds a sense of safety where both people feel valued and understood. And when we trust that we can be vulnerable without judgment or rejection, we are more likely to offer the same vulnerability back, creating a cycle of emotional openness that strengthens the bond. Trust is not just built on big gestures. It's cultivated through consistent moments of vulnerability when we share something personal, when we allow ourselves to be seen in our imperfect humanity, and when we show up for someone else in their moments of need. These moments of connection and emotional risk help to deepen trust and create a more profound bond between people. Vulnerability is the gateway to healing. Another crucial role of vulnerability is its power to heal. In our lives, we all carry wounds, emotional scars from past experiences, heartbreak, loss, or trauma. These wounds can only heal when we allow ourselves to confront them, express them, and share them with others. But this requires vulnerability, the courage to acknowledge the pain, and the humility to ask for help. When we share our wounds with others, we invite them into our healing process. Vulnerability allows us to release the shame, guilt, or fear that often accompanies emotional pain. It's the act of saying, I am struggling, but I am open to being supported. Or I don't have all the answers, but I'm willing to seek healing, and in doing so, we give ourselves permission to begin the healing journey. For example, when we share our past traumas with someone we trust, we allow ourselves to be seen not just as the person who is whole and strong, but also as the person who has been hurt and is still healing. This process of sharing our struggles and receiving support can help us release the emotional burden we've been carrying. It allows us to move forward with less fear and more hope. Vulnerability, in this way, is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. It takes incredible courage to face our pain and share it with others. By doing so, we open the door to healing, not just for ourselves, but for others as well. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we give others the permission to do the same, creating a collective environment of empathy and growth. This vulnerability creates authenticity. The more we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, the more we become authentic. Authenticity is about being true to ourselves without the need for approval or validation from others. It's about living in alignment with our values, desires, and emotions, and showing up in the world without pretending to be someone we're not. Vulnerability plays a pivotal role in fostering authenticity because it encourages us to step away from the masks we wear, the facades we put on to protect ourselves or to meet external expectations. When we are vulnerable, we strip away these layers and allow ourselves to be seen in our truest form. And in doing so, we invite others to do the same. Vulnerability teaches us that it's okay to be imperfect, that our value is not dependent on how others perceive us, and that we don't need to hide behind walls to be worthy of love and connection. Authenticity, born from vulnerability, is what makes relationships feel real and fulfilling. It's what allows us to be fully present with others and to engage in meaningful conversations, free of pretense. It's what allows us to love not just the polished versions of ourselves or others, but the messy, complicated, and beautiful human beings that we truly are. Vulnerability and courage go hand in hand. While vulnerability is about letting go of control and exposing our raw, authentic selves, it is also a courageous act. It takes bravery to allow ourselves to be vulnerable, especially in a world that often values strength over softness. But the reality is that vulnerability is the birthplace of growth. It is only when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable that we can experience true transformation. It takes courage to be vulnerable in relationships, to speak our truth, even when it feels uncomfortable, and to confront our own fears, insecurities, and doubts. But every time we choose vulnerability, we choose growth, we choose connection, we choose authenticity. And in the process, we create spaces where others can do the same. Conclusion, the power of vulnerability. In the end, vulnerability is not just a tool for deepening relationships, it is a key to living a fulfilling, connected life. It is the means by which we heal, grow, and transform. It is the act of showing up as our true selves, despite the risks, despite the discomfort. Vulnerability is the thing that allows us to experience love in its purest form, to build trust and intimacy, and to create relationships that are authentic, real, and lasting. The role of vulnerability in our lives is immense. It is the bridge between isolation and connection, between fear and freedom, between who we are and who we are becoming. And while it may feel scary at times, it is also where the magic of life resides, the magic of truly being seen, truly being loved, and truly being understood. You are worthy of full love. At the core of every healthy, fulfilling relationship, whether with a partner, a friend, or even with oneself, is the belief that you are worthy of love. Not just any love, but full, abundant, unconditional love. This is a love that sees you for who you truly are, with all your flaws, your dreams, your struggles, and your strengths. It is the kind of love that holds space for your imperfections, supports you in your growth, and nourishes you through every phase of your life. It is a love that does not seek to change you, but rather celebrates you as you are and encourages you to become the best version of yourself. The belief that you are worthy of this kind of love is fundamental to your emotional well-being. It shapes how you show up in relationships, how you allow others to treat you, and how you treat yourself. When you truly know that you are worthy of full love, you start to make choices that align with this truth. You stop settling for crumbs, for half love, or for relationships that do not honor your worth. You understand that you deserve a love that is deep, consistent, and unconditional, a love that fills you up, not one that drains you. Understanding worthiness. Many people struggle with the concept of worthiness, especially when it comes to love. We live in a society that often conditions us to feel like we have to earn love, that we need to be good enough in order to deserve affection, respect, and care. We may feel that we need to be perfect, always happy, or meet certain standards in order to be loved fully. This belief can leave us chasing approval, suppressing our true selves, or sacrificing our own needs to please others. But true worthiness is not about perfection. It's not about being flawless, never making mistakes, or always having it all together. Worthiness is about recognizing that, as a human being, you are deserving of love simply because you exist. It is inherent in your being. It is not something you have to prove or earn. When you start to accept this, you begin to remove the barriers that prevent you from experiencing full love. You no longer base your worth on external validation or conditional affection. Instead, you trust in the fact that you are valuable, loved, and deserving just as you are. The foundation of full love. Full love is not a one-sided transaction. It is a mutual exchange that flows freely between people who respect and value each other. But before you can experience full love from others, you must first cultivate it within yourself. Loving yourself fully is the foundation upon which all other love is built. When you love yourself, you teach others how to love you. You show them what you need, what you value, and what you value, and what you deserve in a relationship. And in doing so, you set the tone for how you expect to be treated. Self-love isn't always easy, especially when we have been conditioned to criticize ourselves or diminish our own needs. It can be a struggle to give ourselves permission to take up space, to rest, or to prioritize our own well-being. But full love requires that we first recognize our own value. It means accepting our imperfections, forgiving ourselves for past mistakes, and honoring our own needs and desires. Self-love is the practice of nurturing yourself emotionally, mentally, and physically. It is taking time to care for your body, to honor your emotions, and to set boundaries that protect your peace. It is about being compassionate with yourself, recognizing when you need rest or a break, and acknowledging your accomplishments, even the small ones. The more you practice self-love, the more you reinforce the belief that you are worthy of full love from others. You no longer seek validation or approval outside of yourself because you already know deep down that you are enough. The fullness of love. Love is expansive. It goes beyond fleeting infatuation or superficial attraction. It is a deep, unwavering connection that celebrates both the light and the dark parts of a person. It involves emotional vulnerability, the willingness to be seen for who you truly are, and the courage to show up authentically, even when it's difficult. Full love is grounded in acceptance, trust, and understanding. It is about allowing each other to grow, to change, and to evolve while maintaining a steady, unconditional love for each other. In a romantic relationship, full love is not about constantly being on your best behavior or presenting a perfect image. It is about being open, honest, and real. It is about sharing your thoughts, dreams, and fears without fear of judgment. Full love means allowing each other to be imperfect while offering support, compassion, and respect. It means working through challenges together, knowing that love is not just about the good times, but also about how you navigate the difficult moments. This type of love also involves recognizing the needs of the other person and honoring those needs without neglecting your own. In healthy full love, both people feel valued, heard, and supported. It is not about one person giving more than the other or one person sacrificing their happiness for the other. It is a balance, both partners equally invested in the well-being of each other and the relationship. Letting go of half-love. One of the biggest obstacles to experiencing full love is the temptation to settle for less, what some call half-love. Half-love might look like a relationship where one person is emotionally unavailable or where there is a lack of commitment. It might look like being in a friendship where you constantly give more than you receive or where you feel undervalued or unappreciated. Half-love may involve tolerating disrespect, dishonesty, or neglect in the name of avoiding conflict or staying in a familiar situation. But half-love is not enough. It is not healthy, and it is certainly not fulfilling. You deserve a love that is whole, unconditional, and reciprocal. You deserve to be seen, heard, and cherished for exactly who you are. When you accept less than full love, you are telling yourself that you don't deserve better, that you are not worthy of the kind of love that nourishes, uplifts, and supports you in all your endeavors. Letting go of half-love is a process of reclaiming your worth. It means acknowledging that you deserve love that is consistent, genuine, and reciprocal. It means not settling for anything less than what you know you are capable of giving and receiving. When you stop settling for half-love, you create space for the full, abundant love you deserve to enter your life. Recognizing your deservedness. The journey to recognizing that you are worthy of full love often requires a shift in mindset. Many of us have been taught to seek validation from others, to prove our worthiness through accomplishments or external achievements. But worthiness does not come from what you do, it comes from who you are. The moment you realize that your worth is inherent, you can begin to let go of the need for external validation and accept the love that is already available to you. Recognizing that you are worthy of full love means recognizing that you do not need to earn or prove your value. You are valuable because you exist. You are deserving of love, respect, and care simply because you are human. When you embrace this truth, you stop settling for less. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that do not honor your worth. And you start creating relationships that reflect the full, abundant love you are worthy of. Full love in practice. So how do we put this into practice? How do we cultivate and embody the belief that we are worthy of full love? It begins with self-awareness and self-compassion. It means regularly checking in with yourself, acknowledging your needs, and prioritizing your emotional well-being. It involves setting boundaries that protect your time and energy and saying no when something doesn't align with your worth. It also involves surrounding yourself with people who see you for who you truly are, people who respect your boundaries, who honor your needs, and who are willing to offer you the same love, respect, and support that you give them. Full love is not about being perfect, but about being real. It's about allowing yourself to experience love in all its fullness without holding back and without feeling that you have to earn it. In conclusion, you are worthy of full love. You are worthy of love that fills you up. You are worthy of love that nurtures, heals, and supports you in becoming your best self. You are worthy of a love that sees you in all your beauty and complexity, that embraces your imperfections and celebrates your uniqueness. Full love is not a privilege, it is your birthright. It's time to stop settling for less. It's time to acknowledge your worth, to stop dimming your light, and to step into relationships that reflect the fullness of who you are. You are worthy of love that is deep, unconditional, and unwavering. And when you begin to believe that, you will create a life full of the kind of love you deserve. Conclusion, embracing your worth and the love you deserve. As we close, let this message resonate deeply within you. You are worthy of full love. Not because of what you've accomplished, not because of how perfect you are or how well you meet someone else's expectations, but because of who you are, a human being, deserving of connection, respect, and care. Choose to embrace your wholeness and let that wholeness guide the relationships you build. Be courageous enough to walk away from half-love and bold enough to demand and give love that is complete, authentic, and unconditional. Remember, the love you accept reflects the love you believe you deserve. So go forward with the knowledge that your worth is not negotiable. You were made to experience a love that lifts you up, a love that honors every part of you, and a love that stands unwavering even through life's storms. Don't settle for anything less. Instead, cultivate the kind of love within yourself and with others that leaves no part of your heart untouched. Thank you.